All right. We should be live. Hopefully, if everything's working correctly. As usual, it is noon on a Wednesday, Eastern Time, which means, of course, it's time for the High Noon Hemp Show live and video on demand on the Hemptations Beach Facebook page. Also on the Jedi Hemp YouTube channel and on Twitter at Hemptations. I am Stoner Jesus. He is Beach. We have a special guest waiting in the wings. But first, how are things on this Hemptations Day in the world of Hemptations, Beach?
It's a super duper having Hemptations Day. I can tell you that. We got an awesome guest to be on the show, who is both 420 and environmentally friendly, of course, and that's why we're calling today having Hemptations Day. Because it's the day that falls right in between 420. I hope everybody had a good 420 out there, and Earth Day, and because we were just voted the best smoke shop 420 and the best green sustainable store Earth Day, I feel like the day in between should be having Hemptations Day.
That's right.
So I'm gonna officially declare this the first annual having Hemptations Day. Um, and without further ado, let's bring on our first guest on the show.
Through the
Uh,
power of technology.
through the
Bam.
power of technology, we have Wilfrid. Wilfrid is with us. Wilfrid, thank you for joining us today. How are things?
It's actually Jason as well, Jason Gann as Wilfred. But yeah,
Jason Gann as Wilfrid,
yesterday
however you want to be.
I think I did no, I don't think I did. I did a interview yesterday, and I was in the dog suit, so I was Wilfred, and then but the guy kept calling me Jason, so it's kind of like a situation where I get mixed up. But I answered to both, and I'm CEO, founder CEO of our hemp and cannabis company. But I also kind of in the marketing sense play it that Wilfrid is the CEO of his own company, so it really is Wilfrid's company. So I'm happy to answer to both.
I was going to ask you. I wasn't sure how the last name was pronounced, but you had Wilfrid up there. Well, Jason, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
If I want to ask you as Wilfrid, I'll ask you as Wilfrid. If I want to ask you as Jason, I'll ask you as Jason.
All right.
So Wilfrid, how was your 420?
Well, it was a bit. It was pretty quiet. I had a couple of curveballs thrown at me in a business sense, kind of as can happen, and those kind of events don't really choose what day they're gonna happen to you on. So I kind of didn't have that sort of celebratory kind of partying kind of feeling that I normally do. But I had something pretty special happen yesterday when I woke up for 420. To me, I guess in the past, I only really discovered 420 when I went to live in the States about a decade ago. And it took a while before I got a hold of what it really was. And I just sort of took it pretty lightly, like, yeah, I don't need an excuse to get high. But I sort of played it up until like this year. It was like St. Patrick's Day or something. Yeah, everyone's going to get dressed up in green and we're going to get drunk, and in this case, we're all going to get high. And that's all it was. But then I woke up and it was like, I sort of talk about and think about a lot the spirituality of cannabis, the cannabis plant, and also I've been busting my butt in this business in the cannabis and hemp space for 3 years now, and it's a tough grind and it's a tough bit. So I kind of have learned some there as well. So both because I'm sort of really vested in this business, but also because of the spirituality of the plant and what I believe the plant can do for the planet, what I believe the plant was intended to do for the planet and humanity. I just went, this is really such a significant day. It's really up there with Christmas or any religious belief. Because, I mean, if it's a kind of an entheogen to God or a God or higher being, the spirituality of the plant, then it needs to be celebrated. It should be celebrated as such. And so that's how I spent the day, in a kind of a almost prayerful kind of high meditative state, where I was kind of appreciating the plant to myself and the universe.
Totally understandable. Again, that's why when we started 25 years ago, it was about the clothing, and then the food came along, and then everything else. I like to say that CBD was the first time in Hemptation's history that hemp actually made me money. And so I totally get the grind. The
Been
part
doing
of
it
it,
that
of course,
long.
we've been selling CBD for 10 years, and so I love how CBD and hemp is bringing the environmental, all the other, the clothing, the construction, all that stuff to light
Mm,
with industrial hemp being legal in the United States. So
mm.
thank you for using hemp in any product
Look,
because you're supporting
yeah,
the industry.
I want to use it a lot more things than I do already, and
Yeah.
with our hemp CBD smokes, which I'm sure we'll talk about, I chose to have hemp papers, which I think they don't kind of burn as well as paper. Like occasionally some people will talk about just like the burn of the hemp paper, and it was something that I was aware of beforehand. But when you look at the ecological, damage that harvesting of trees versus hemp does, to me, it's a small adjustment to make. And also, we have biodegradable filters.
I love
So
that. Yeah.
people say, "Oh, it doesn't pull like a cigarette." I was like, "Well, it's not a tobacco cigarette." Those things
Right.
have been around for a long, long time, designed to be just easy, smooth consumption. And it's more like, I'd say, it's more like somewhere between a cigarette and a joint, where you pull it deliberately and thoughtfully.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so that's that. When we make those decisions in packaging, when you run a business, and you've got to get packaging right, and there's all these awesome new packaging companies that are so ecologically friendly, but they're also kind of not economically friendly. So it's you got to find that balance between running a business and surviving as a business, and also being thoughtful about the environment.
Yeah, conscious about the product that you're selling.
Yeah.
Again, whole reason we got into this was to do that, and I love that because there's nothing more that pisses me off more is a hemp company that then uses tree paper or prints there. If you ever do Wilfrid T-shirts, use hemp T-shirts. Don't put them on. Don't put them on cotton, which is what we're trying to replace.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, then I need to find. I mean, you're right. We do have a merch store, and it isn't on hemp. So hemp, and it should be.
Yeah.
So I guess that's maybe we can talk after about Do you guys do you guys do printed T-shirts and stuff like that?
We used to print, and I get all of my T-shirts from another company. But we did one color printing here, simple stuff, nothing too crazy. But there are
it's like plant-based meats, like without getting into the vegan argument, I think that it's definitely better. It's proved that people should be eating more plant-based meats because it's for us, the environment. But it's really hard for, say, a plant meat startup to compete with those big, massive companies that make things so cheap. That's why McDonald's is so cheap and it's so affordable, because people don't have a lot of money. So sometimes it's just not economical for the average family to buy, a lot of say vegan products sometimes. And whether the answer to that is those companies have subsidized or tax breaks or something, I don't know what that's kind of beyond my way of thinking. But I think it's the same kind of similar. I mean, I see those prices are getting low. I'm living in Spain right now. Actually, I'm talking to you in Spain, and I'm surprised by just how those how many plant-based meats there are growing in the environment here. Spain's a socialist country, and they've made no secret of the fact that they're trying to get people off meat. So yeah, it's the same thing. Like you've got to try and survive, but also
hemp fills that vegan void very well with the high proteins. And let me ask you real quick.
When we get into vegan meat, actually, sorry, just to finish that thought though,
go ahead.
I'm going to do I want to make Wilfrid hemp burgers. I want them to be so awesome. Frozen burgers that are made of hemp protein, which hemp is it's the most complete plant alternative.
Yeah.
and plant protein.
Yep.
So I've got a guy in Australia, a chef working on it right now, on a kind of a formula for a burger. And I would like to make it like just, a frozen burger that you can just buy a pack of burgers at Whole Foods or everywhere. And they're frozen burgers and they taste like meat, but they got that stupid face on them, on the box.
Which would attract people. And, that's what I've always said is, and again, to compete with the real meat, you got to make it. And that's what the successful fake meats are doing, is they're making it so the average person that eat meats can't tell the difference, because that's the only way we're gonna get the meat eaters. And so that's awesome that you want to do that, because I love there are a couple out there now, hemp burgers, but I just love the idea. And then again, you're right, not just the proteins, but the omega-6, omega-3s, vitamins, minerals that hemp has. Unbelievably healthy for the human body.
I mean, my wife and kids are we're a vegan household. Sometimes, I might, push that the kids don't need, because they're like young, they're 7. So, the long term, studies. We have an arm wrestle every now and then, my wife, but we're a vegan household, and without getting into that kind of fight about veganism and about being better for animals or all that, or even the environment, and it's just better for human health to be having less meat. And so that's the re-education that has to happen. And you do need to have that meat flavor just as that alternative, because we're really re-educating people after I don't know how many thousands of years, tens of thousands, definitely, maybe hundreds of thousands of years. And it's a process. I mean, I struggle with vegan cheese. It's really hard to find a good vegan cheese.
And hemp is we're seeing hemp do that too.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah,
we get that urge, and you just body says I want to have it, and then you have that debate. Okay, is this my body telling me I need it? Because sometimes your body will tell you what it needs and what doesn't. Or is this just pure habit of taste and flavor? This is what I
want. Yeah, your brain just loves cheese because we have and so totally. Yeah, there was some hemp cheese. There's a couple different hemp cheese companies out there as well. And so and hemp milk, because dairy is a big thing when you talk about replacing the meat, just dairy, cow product, period. None of it. Humans don't need any of it, in all honesty. The meat more than I think the actual dairy part, but but anyway, and so I love that that again your focus is not just the CBD world, but you're very environmentally conscious, and as most vegans are, and so
well. The veganism, my wife has been banging me over there with it for years and years. And it wasn't until my youngest son, 5 years old, is like a vegan militant, and he makes me feel guilty. He makes me feel so guilty. This guy, like, he'll have a piece of chocolate or something, and he'll ask if it's vegan. He'll be excited, see the joy in his face, and she'll ask him. My wife will be like, "No, it's not vegan," and he'll be like, "No, not having it." Here, take mine away as well. I can't eat this.
Right.
He's just thinking about the animals.
Well, he is a true vegan from birth, because they love to tell you. They love to tell you.
Yeah.
It's true.
It's for me, the whole cannabis, CBD, the medicinal CBD element, and definitely that hemp meats. It's just is another reminder of just how this miracle plant was like, and as you know, with the clothes and just the history of it used in textiles, and just how amazing it could be for life, just better in so many different ways. It could literally save our planet, or extend the life of our planet, extend people's physical health, and make them and also help evolve their consciousness. Which
I've always said that if we replaced everything that we could with hemp, the planet would be so much better off. People wouldn't even notice. We go about our lives. We live in cleaner water, cleaner soil, cleaner air, all of it. That's all we got to do, is just replace everything we can with hemp, and I guarantee you that's the result. And so let me ask you, what was the first hemp product that you ever bought?
Oh, it would have been a bag years ago. I had a hemp bag, back in Australia.
Right on. My first hemp product was a little hemp bag I got hanging on the wall. I actually bought it at the local amusement park
Right, right.
30 years
Yeah,
ago.
right.
That's awesome. I love
Probably
it.
probably in the same vintage. There was a movement of hemp bags. It did seem to be whenever you see them, some of the hemp products, it would be hemp bags and
Yeah, it's true. It's true. That was like one of the original hemp products you
yeah.
see anywhere. Now let me ask you this: what got you into the CBD game?
Well, as you know, had this show Wilfrid. Wilfrid was a
I
short
know a
film.
little bit about it. I think I've seen
Okay,
it
well,
a
let me
little
just give
bit.
you a quick history lesson about it. Back in 2002, it was an award-winning short film. It went to festivals around the world, including Sundance. It was about Wilfrid the dog and this guy who was trying to date the dog's owner. And Wilf, in the first 10 seconds of the short film, the one guy sees him as a dog, the rest of the world sees him as a dog, and he sees him as a guy in a dog suit. Well, Wilfrid lights a bong in the beginning and offers him one, and Wilfrid
And I was
is
in. I was
it's a
in
stoner
that
comedy.
moment.
Well,
I was
the name
in
now
from
they call it
that
stoner comedy. Well, we did a TV show in Australia, and then the Elijah Wood American TV show with me, 4 seasons, and it became this stoner comedy. But when we made it, the term stoner comedy didn't exist. So
Right.
I always had I've been a cannabis user and advocate for a quarter of a century. So there was already that element to it. Then I finished the show. It was 4 years ago now, and a few things happened all at once. I discovered that I wanted to get into the space, and we wanted to get into the dog treats, the CBD dog treats. And I'm actually about to launch CBD dog treats this week. I'm about
Sell
to
the hell out of them. Sell the hell out of them.
And so and a lot of pressure to do that first. But because Wilfrid was, he's known to be a kind of a wild sort of a party boy, and that, I just felt like it was important for the brand to come out the gate with in the cannabis space. So we came out with the cannabis pre-rolls, and on 420 just yesterday, it was our second year anniversary of being in the cannabis market with our pre-rolls. We extended a couple of things. Tough grind, and then even though it was sort of, people thought I was crazy and people I went into business with pulled out of business with me because I did make that decision instead of going into the dog CBD, the pet CBD space.
Yeah,
margins were better in the pet CBD space. It was really tough grind in California, but I just felt that people and their pets and their animals, they take it very seriously. And even though Wilfrid in my TV show is predominantly a comedy, it did get serious at times, and Wilfrid could be very sensitive as a character. But I didn't want to come out the gate like that. And I also didn't want to come out the gate to pet owners as this, some jerk in a dog suit acting like a clown, like when their pet's dying and they're really serious about what they want to extend their life or pain. So it's a serious subject. So I wanted to come out the gate with the fun. Here I am with the cannabis brand. And then it's like, okay, take a step back, serious moment. We all love our pets. And Wilfrid can be more like an investigative journalist talking to a doctor about the medicinal value of CBDs and sort of stuff. So it can wear that different kind of hat there. So, but when I was getting into the cannabis, when I was making these decisions, my oldest son had two life-threatening seizures where he had to go into the hospital in an ambulance, and he was 3 years old, and it was very, very traumatic. And where you're driving behind the ambulance, not knowing if he's going to make it or not, and he's just in this kind of catatonic state, and thought he'd lost him, some brain tumor or something. And it turned out he had these severe seizures that was still kind of hard to define. And in that process of being medicated and very concerned for his health, I really just got to see for the first time, researched and discovered just how CBD is helping, cannabis and CBD are helping kids with severe epilepsy, and then a multitude of things. So there came a time pretty early on where I'm like, okay, this is a mission now. I'm really, we as a company, we have very small margins. We have very, very small celebrity overhead. We just do enough. I'm a working class guy, working class brand. We want to get the best product we can for the minimum that we can get it to people. So I hate the idea of someone wanting to buy something like this and not being able to afford it.
Right.
So so it's become this. It's like I never thought in my wildest dreams as an actor, a young actor and then writer, that I'd one day own a cannabis hemp company in the States. But now that it's happening, it just seems like the most natural thing in the world. And it's like the whole Hollywood career was just, the purpose was to get into this.
Right. Well,
Yes.
again, I will say I have we have Adobe. I know you don't like Adobe's, Wilfrid, but I have Adobe, and the only Adobe or the only thing that calms her down for thunderstorms is CBD treats.
Right.
The
Wow.
only thing we give her the tincture right in the mouth or treats, but I mean and so just for that alone, and again we have a lot of customers with older pets that definitely see, it doesn't make and they know this, it doesn't make them better, but it does give the dog a better quality of life 9 times out of 10. And so get on those dog treats. Get working on that. We'll put those on the shelves as soon as we can get them out, get a good launch for those. That would be awesome.
Cool.
I did see now.
Oh, Peach is frozen, which happens sometimes with the technology. They should be back very shortly. Everybody check out wilfridcbd.com, and of course stop in Temptations where the Wilfrid products can be found as we wait the return.
Yeah, well, we've got these CBD smokes you can see, and I mean, when I come from that pre-roll space in California where we have 100% flour with no trim or shake, and when we were looking at putting a CBD, a hemp pre-roll on the market, I just weighed up the just the practicality, the cogs, of doing a pre-roll in that space, in hemp pre-roll or a hemp cigarette. And I discovered that already knew that the hemp cigarettes or the hemp pets or whatever had a bit of a bad reputation of being filled with biomass and crap. And so I just went, well, why? But yet they're just so much more economical to make en masse than pre-rolls. They're very labor intensive and they just cost a lot of money in labor in particular. So the goal was to bring the same, philosophy of what was in the smoke from what we did in the pre-rolls to have. We're going to have 100% organic flour. The CBD, it's higher than any other CBD product I've seen. We've got our flour from Tennessee, from a guy who's he actually learned his trade up in Humboldt, but he's from Tennessee, so he went back to his home state to make hemp, and he's got a really amazing hemp cultivation set up there. And so we're 100% organic, certified organic hemp flour, and it's the hemp papers and biodegradable filters. So I launched them in September last year, and we did a whole lot of pre-sales with my fans on social media. And the response was really overwhelming, like everyone really loved them. But now we are a small company. There's only two of us, two partners and a third person helping us. We got other people helping us. We actually got some sales guys now. So we're a bootstrap company, and now the challenge is getting into shops. So I personally love the process. He's back.
Yay, here I am. Sorry about that. You can see how high budget we are here.
That's all right. I just get so much go on. So the actor in me kept just chatting away. But I forget what I was saying altogether.
Okay, that's fine. I'll ask you the question I started to ask you. I did notice on the Facebook page or one of the websites or something, different colored packs of Wilfrid. Have you done different colored packs, or is that future?
Yeah, no, they're out. They're all out. I mean, the first three, they call them the Wilfrid 5, and I don't know if I've got something here with them on. But maybe this is going to be too small for you to see that little. Now you can see this is the bottom of a letterhead, but you can see I've got the yellow ones The yellow
Okay.
ones are the hemp CBD. Green is hybrid. They're available in California and soon Oregon. Red sativa, blue is indica, and the black is infused pre-roll, which is at the moment it's Dream Queen flower, space dust concentrate, cannabis oil, and keef rolled in keef in the end. So basically what I want to do, I want to establish an international brand. Wilfrid was screened in 35 plus countries. It's got a huge cult following.
Yeah,
And
sure.
I want it it's not a business that's going to get any smaller. And I'm trying to build it so that it can last long after me, and that the face of Wilfrid sort of becomes, synonymous with people. Firstly, as the hemp and cannabis smoke specialists.
Right,
so I want to be a specialist in that smoke area. But we are, branching out into some other SKUs, other products, simply because it's tough to make a living specifically in those. Like say if your shop's going to order you, we discovered this recently. I'm about to put 3 new CBD products on the market. And because a lot of places, a sales guy was going to, that say, look, it'd be great if you had 4 items, because if a shop's going to go to the effort of buying one item, then it's good for them to buy a bunch, and sure. Have like, this is the Wilfrid display, or this, we've got a few different things. So that's I'm in the process of doing that now, building up our SKUs so that if a shop likes us and is loyal to us, and we can quadruple what they're buying if we've got full good products.
And I would say one thing we're seeing in that hemp smoke kind of field is then using different terpene flavonoids.
Right.
And so, you got your pineapple this or your that. And so, as much as that's appropriate in the THC world, so to speak, it's becoming quite prevalent in the CBD world. And so, being able to offer those in a different flavor profile, so to speak, it's something that we're seeing definitely with the flower aspect.
Yeah. We've got frosted lime. We've got that frosted lime with our CBD smokes. So it's just got that.
Is that the CBD strand you guys are using is frosted lime?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very popular. It is a popular strain.
Right.
So right on. All right. Well, I think the only we can finish up here by. Are there any other environmental issues? We've talked about all the 420 stuff, and I can't wait for Ohio's going to be one of the last legal states in the country. But once we get it off the controlled substance list federally and in Ohio, I can't wait to. I'm going to have to go to a state where I can get the THC Wilfrids.
I think that I think that if there's medical cannabis, and that hemp CBD products are allowed to be made for all purpose. I mean, I think it's a human right. So ultimately, my bigger goal is to try to campaign to have it be legalized throughout the world. I believe we're sole partners, humans, and the cannabis hemp plants. They've been helping us for tens of thousands of years. The last 80 years has been denied us, and so we're getting it back. But now we never had in the past all of the science to extract certain things, delta and all these CBG and these elements, which I'm learning about and entering different markets. But to be able to what's that?
Delta 8 is very hot.
yeah. I've got a couple of Delta 8 things coming out. I'll tell you about off screen.
Right.
But here's the thing. Like, I talk about the spirituality of the plant and how I think that it is here to help expand our human consciousness. And as long as it's prohibited in countries, then that consciousness isn't going to evolve as it should. So, say in Australia right now, Australia's still got laws that they did out of some sort of moral obligation to follow America and the UK back during the Geneva Convention back in the 1920s, which is based on a 1913 Geneva Convention movement to stop opium trade. And it's like it was about opium And then they just threw in hash as well and cannabis as well, like just
Yeah.
for the fuck of it, without doing any tests on it. And they just said it's can only use for bad things. Like literally said that. And so America's changing their laws dramatically now, but Australia's still got these old freaking laws from back in 1923. They only had because of these guys had it, right? And meanwhile, I got one of my very best friends died of esophagus cancer a few years ago, and I was living in California, and I was talking to him every day, and the hoops that guy had to jump through, and the amount of time what he had to wait for to get some cannabis to help him with his pain, it took months. By the time it actually got to him, it didn't. He was beyond it even helping him. Are you losing me?
You look good here, Beach. Or you did. Hold on. Nope. All right. We lost him again. Which happens from time to time.
You know, my buddy, it really just tore my heart out. I was shooting at the time and I couldn't make it back there just to, see him again before he died. Unfortunately, it really tore my heart out. But to know that he was in this kind of constant pain, and to know that I could walk down to my local corner, main street, and purchase over the counter the products that could help relieve his pain and suffering, but he couldn't access it because of these laws. So once I get this company up to a point where I don't make a lot of money from what I did on television, unfortunately, I didn't have much of a business brain back then. But once I get this company up to a point where I can comfortably do other things besides day-to-day running the company, campaigning for law changes, definitely in Australia and on a global level, is definitely something that this company is going to be behind.
Right. And ironically, Australia just legalized hemp just a couple years ago. I mean, it's, I think it was legal in I think different provinces maybe, but then the whole country itself just legalized industrial hemp. And James Cameron's been growing hemp there for 10 years.
Right. Yeah, but it's still certain things that you can't do that,
No, I get it.
Yeah, there's no and to get the cannabis, you've got to prove that you're really, really sick. It's not just like the early Cali days where you could go and say, I got insomnia, let's sign me up. It's like they really want you to get doctor certificates to really verify that you need this.
Well, our laws here in the state of Ohio are much like that. We have it's too stringent. In all honesty, we've got a good list of things that are acceptable, but it's not as open as it should be, ironically, as most states are, because, we've been saying this for years, all cannabis use is medicinal.
Yes. Yeah.
And so for the government, and like you said, it comes from nature. So for any government, for any other human to say we can't use it has always been quite ridiculous. That's always been our fight too, day in and day out.
Always a big thing of how do you get a company to basically cancel themselves? A company cancel themselves and retire, and we'll put down our arms and say we're no longer going to be making beef, or we're no longer going to be cutting down trees and making paper. These companies don't want to stop, mate. They got shareholders. They expect a certain amount of financial growth. So how we get from there to there, I guess it's just we just keep plugging away and do what you guys have been doing for
years. Again, and here's the deal: we are seeing these big companies, especially with the fiber that have been using cotton. Finally, these big names are finally starting to use hemp in their fibers, and so I think that and that is the key. The key is proving that they should, and then making sure that they have it. That's been my biggest goal with the CBD stuff is, all right, well, guess what? We still need to grow for fiber, and we need to grow a lot of fiber to make it, like you said, economically feasible to make paper and to build houses and to do all those things we can do with the fiber part. And we need to grow a lot of grain, because if we don't grow a lot of grain, those food prices don't come down like you're talking about. And so, unfortunately, we are seeing that growth. You're a part of that by supporting the hemp industries with whatever hemp you're growing. But we are fortunate, and this is what I also say is take those byproducts from those plants that you grow and use those. Those stalks can be made into houses. Those stalks can be
Yeah.
made into clothing. Now, those stalks can be made into animal bedding. Not just burned in a field like they do in Canada when they're done with their grain every year. And so, that's my advice to anybody growing for CBD is guess what? You can grow for fiber too. You can grow for hemp herd, that construction material, because guess what? You're getting rid of that at the end of the flower day. At the end of the flower day, you're just throwing that in a pile. And so, find those resources to get rid of that in an environmentally good way. And that, again, that's putting it out there on the market so people can use it. And so consider that. That's
I will. No,
my
that's,
deep thoughts.
yeah, no, yeah.
I talked to one CBD company, and they were making the plastic, like wasn't plastic, but the material you lay down in between the plants out of their stalks to keep the weeds out. So they were making like a weed preventer fabric out of their leftover stalks after they had harvested the flowers.
Yeah,
so there's a lot of opportunities out there to use that whole plant, because from the root to the top, there's nothing you can't use. Nothing from the root to the top of that plant, nothing you can't use.
Well, yeah, you can see that you had that shot up of me a minute ago, Wilfrid, in the NASA jumpsuit, looking a bit like Charlton Heston and Planet of the Apes.
Very debonair, Wilfrid.
Commercial I've done for the CBD smokes, where Wilfrid, and it's part of an ongoing narrative marketing campaign where Wilfrid is a space traveler who's traveling to other planets and distant galaxies, bringing the cannabis and hemp seeds to indigenous beings, not necessarily humans. Which is the story of the Dogon tribe in Africa, where they still to this day, their mythology is that cannabis was brought many thousands of years ago. This story has been passed down for many generations, and that these extraterrestrials that came from the Sirius star system. The word cannabis means two dogs, canine by bis, meaning by two. And that name came from them, and they claim, the Dogons claim, that it came from the Sirius star system, which actually has two stars. That's known as the canine, the dog planet, the dog star.
Oh okay.
Yeah, the dog star. So they say that they came down and they gave the cannabis plants to humans to help with their evolution of their consciousness. So I'm an ancient astronaut theorist for decades now, and part of what I do, one of my greatest interests, is digging into ancient civilizations and cultures and religions to discover how long that cannabis relationship is, where it's come from, and try and understand our real relationship with it, and then I think help find our souls, find that soul connection. Because when I have that cannabis experience, I feel that it fills my soul in a way that nothing else quite can. So I think that we can learn more about that, and by doing that, have more of an understanding of our place in the planet and beyond. And so basically, in a fun way, I have taken the mythology of the introduction of cannabis to Earth, with Wilfrid doing that and being like a Johnny Appleseed of planting apples all the way, but kind of like Wilfrid Appleweed or something. Wilfrid's he's going different and meeting indigenous places. So it's a bit of comedy, but it's also something that I'm very inspired by.
I love it. I have been told that I am of Egyptian alien descent.
Okay.
I'm 6'5". I'm very skinny. I have very weird looks, in my opinion, and so I've been told by more than one person that I am of Egyptian alien descent. So,
wow,
I get it.
It's a subject for another podcast, but it's something we can talk about for hours. We can talk about
it doesn't have to all be about hemp, I suppose. But no, I love it. Right on. Well, I definitely, truly appreciate the time that you've taken today, and we will definitely be talking in the future.
Yeah,
Get you hooked up with all the
jump
good
on
stuff
again.
in the
Yeah,
hemp world for
yeah.
sure.
I
Look
appreciate your
forward.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm excited about these new. We've got a couple of Delta 8 products coming out, and the dog treats, and of course the hemp smokes. And yeah, I'm
Well, we
looking
can't
for.
wait to get it all on the shelves. I tell you, it didn't take too long, but we definitely two of the four stores. We have four locations. Two of the four stores are burning through the Wilfrids, and
Oh,
so
cool,
they're
cool.
kind of, and I think a lot of people like them. I do think a lot of people like them because they are a slow burner. It
Right.
doesn't. Some of the stuff we've seen, it's like you
Yeah.
said, just poof, it's gone. But they burn slow. Obviously, you're using the right ingredients. They have a lot of CBD in them. I mean, that is.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's a
It's kind of crazy.
seriously
Well,
good amount of CBD
well,
per day. You know.
so much of this stuff, so much is this sort of synchronicity and different coincidences and things that can happen when in around that cannabis space. And I was, being trapped in Spain. My business partners was doing a lot of reconnaissance for me, and being from having lived in California for 10 years, the first instinct was to find a place that was in California, but we wanted to find better, see if we can find what else was out there, the best we could find, the best hemp we could find. And so when Stacy, my business partner, told me that there was a place in Tennessee, having by weird coincidences had been to Tennessee twice in my life already, spent decent times, and I spent a significant amount of time there, and
Yeah.
loving the country. Sorry, the farmland.
Oh, it's beautiful, beautiful.
Instantly, as soon as she said there's a place in Tennessee, I was like, holy shit, I hope this place works out, because I had a really good feeling about it. So I'm get really excited when people really like the product, because we did spend a lot of time trying to find the right place and the right flower, and it's a great. People say to me what is my favorite part of what I do. Now, as a CEO of the company, I run everything. I do sales. I make a lot of content. I also come from a Hollywood background of writing, producing, so I love doing that. I love doing the
Sure.
Wilfrids stuff. But when they asked me what my favorite part of it was, I have to say making sales. I mean, I would go to the cannabis dispensaries in California. So if you want to carry Wilfrid, I'll come out there and I'll go out there and I'll do a demo as Jason about the product. And then I'll jump into a bit like Santa at the end of the Christmas parties. I'll come out, Wilfrid will come out and take some photos with the bud tenders and the diehard fans.
Yeah.
And relationships you form with these dispensaries that become like lifelong friendships. And they're always loyal, no matter whether we've got a dip in our production or whatever. They're always ready for help us out whenever we can. But so I enjoy all these parts, but when I close a sale, and when you've actually go from to think that this crazy idea of sitting around when I was high about this bong smoking dog has turned up to 20 years, because in November this year it's 20 years since we made the short film.
Wow.
20 years now.
That's
I'm
awesome.
like, there's these products, there's these things that you can hold them in your hand, and they people are buying them and they're liking them, and it's a part of. Now it's just a matter of just doing whatever you can to keep them going. I believe that the company, if I can just keep the company going, that eventually it's going to become a very recognizable brand. And
well, next time you're in Tennessee, you'll have to take a short little trip up to Cincinnati, because we're not too far from Tennessee, no matter where you are in Tennessee.
Look, well, I don't know when I'm going to Tennessee next, but definitely would love to come back that way when I head back over from Spain, or we're due to go back over there soon. We got trapped because of the pandemic.
Yeah. Nobody's been doing it. Man, when you're ready to get out, come up here to Cincinnati. We got plenty for the kids to do.
Well, our head sales guy, Justin, if you're out there, mate, if you're watching, I'm sure he is. Great job. Love the guy. He's done a fantastic job. He's our head sales guy, and he's in that area. So that's where that was kind of the starting base where the hemp smokes is really starting to grow from that area. So I'm very excited to get there, come out, and.
Well, when people find out that the Hemptations is carrying them, they're going to be in all kinds of other places.
I
love it. And it's all good. I want all the hemp in the world to be out and available to all the world, no matter what form it is in.
Cool.
And so,
great job. All right, well, I'm going to get going, and I got to call the business call.
awesome, man. I totally appreciate it.
Yeah.
For everyone out there, check out wilfridscbd.com. Sign up for their newsletter. You know, you can check out Jason on all those places: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah, well, not Twitter, but I do. I've got at Wolf
Okay.
for Instagram. That's kind of my main jam. I make a lot of content there at Wilfrid, and also Wilfrid TV Dog at Facebook, and I've got a Wilfrid Cannabis TV page on YouTube as well that I need to update.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've got a YouTube page, Wilfrid Cannabis TV, and there's some good shit on there. There's some funny shit for people that love Wilfrid. I mean, I'll read something on my pages every day. I'll be like, because you never, how these things are with social media. I'm shadow banned as well, so I've got 800,000 followers, but I can reach maybe 5,000.
Right.
Which they do. They just limit the people you can reach, but still, I guess they're a lot of different people, because I'll still every day get someone go, "Holy shit!" and I'm like, "This show is happening." Like, I haven't seen it for years. And for those people, when they discover it and they've seen the show, a lot of people have seen the show over and over again. Then when they dig into the Wilfrid cannabis content, which is growing now, there's quite a bit of funny stuff on
Sure.
there.
Yeah. Awesome. I will definitely check that out. I did not know about that.
Actually, I did yesterday. I put out something that's very cool, which is an interview between Wilfrid and Jason Gann. So Wilfrid interviewed Jason Gann, and me, and it's kind of madness, but it's
I bet it's brilliant. Sure, it's brilliant. I don't doubt that. Because I will have to say, again, one of the things that I loved about the show was your ability to convince us that you were actually a dog. I mean, just all those little things, tearing up stuff. Again, it was brilliant as a dog owner. It was just brilliant stuff. And so,
well, I did 10 years of kids theater before I TV, and I was in any number of those kind of those shitty animal suits. I played everything from a duck to wolf to all these different characters, and I used to entertain me. I'd come off stage, I'd crack up, because we'd come off, people would be grumpy and sweaty, smoking cigarettes. You'd Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeers on stage or something. I just thought it was funny. So when we came up with and one thing that I was always kind of amazed by is it didn't matter how terrible the costume was. Those kids believed it. You could walk out there. I played an evening where the beak was like on a hood, and the beak was above my head there, and I had paint on my, I had glasses on as well underneath, and it's like, I believe that's fucking emu. And I'm like, how does this anatomy make any sense at all? But it didn't matter, because we had that vegan suggestion. And so I think that what Wilfrid appeals to people is that child within them. But with that whole naughty, that bong smoking element, it kind of adults it. And so people suspend their belief just by this shitty, this shitty dog suit. Yeah. So that's my theory behind why people it resonates with them anyway.
Yeah, I love it. It was a great show. Definitely looking forward to watching some of the Wilfrid cannabis stuff on YouTube. I'm sure it's brilliant. And we'll let you get on your day. I know you're a busy man with the business. I will talk to you soon behind the lines, and
all right,
we'll go from there.
Great talking, Beats.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, Jason. Wilfrid.
Bye, everyone.
Peace. Awesome, man. That was great. All right. Well,
Absolutely.
We still have a little bit of a show to do, I suppose, as long as I'm still online.
That's right.
What a great 48 minutes or so it was to have Jason / Wilfrid on the show.
Good stuff.
If you've never watched it, Hulu has the American version, and I believe Amazon Prime has the Australian version. So if you want to, and I'm gonna have to go back and check out the short film, which I'm not sure that I even know existed. I watched the Australian version first, and then watched the American version. And so definitely brilliant television. So congratulations to him and all his success for sure. All right.
Absolutely.
Well, let's get on to the product spotlight, as I like to say, 4 from the store, 1 from my door. And the first one is, guess what? That's right, folks. The Wilfrids. We're going to pimp them as much as we can. In all the locations, we don't have them online just because that funny smoking thing online and whatnot, and age limitations. But if you come into any one of the locations, you can check them out. That's the front and back of the pack. there, as you can see, showing off his great sense of humor, no doubt about that. This next one is dog products. That's right, all your good stuff made from hemp. And again, this is the products that we have in Sharonville, and so you got leashes and collars and all kinds of good stuff there for your Wilfrid. If you have a Wilfrid at home, whoa, hey, thought I turned that off. Man, I can't believe we went the whole time without being interrupted by that. But that's too funny. Guess they didn't want to call while I was interviewing someone, but they're okay
That's
with
right.
calling while I'm still on the show. Oh, this next product, brand new. We just dropped these yesterday. We have 4 new strains that we just got in, or cultivars, as you may call them. Um, Sour glue, Granddaddy Perp, um, Hawaiian Express, and our own lifter. And so those are in the 3 gram, 6 gram, and the 14-gram jars, just released in the stores yesterday on 420. Dun, dun, dun. And um, the last one, going kind of back to the Earth side, it's like we go from 420 to Earth Day here on the product spotlight, are our coffee filters. I know I just did these, but I think that um, having only one coffee filter for your life is a great environmental impact. There's no doubt about that. Hopefully, you use unbleached paper ones, but get rid of the paper. Get yourself a hemp coffee filter. If I don't have these online, I should, and I will try to do that as soon as I can. So there you have it. 4 from the store. Now, the one from my door, what do you think it is, folks? Can you guess what it is? And
Drum roll, please.
I just want you to know I did not stage this photo. I actually walked back. I was just walking around the house or something. I came over, and this is the way my pack of Wilfrids were sitting by the remote, which I thought was just super brilliant in itself. Again, did not stage this photo in any way. It just happened to be, I thought with the interview coming up, I should take a picture of that. And so, um, and I will say, my partner, Mary, for those of you that do not know, she uses a lot more CBD these days. And she's been smoking the CBD hemp smokes too. And so I don't know if it was her or I that placed them in this position, to be honest with you, but it's a great pick. One more last pick of the Wilfrids hemp smokes, attainable at the 4 locations and online. You can go online. I'm pretty sure. I think you can go online and order them because again, these are CBD, so I think they ship these. I don't. The other ones are the THC. They do not ship those. I am sure. Those are also only available at local locations in a state that is more nicer to cannabis than Ohio. So there you have it, folks. 4 from the store, 1 from my store on the product spotlight.
So of course, I know a lot of people. You're out there. You're going through withdrawals. You're like, "Where's the beachwear segment?" I'm sitting here nude, watching the show. I don't know what to wear. What am I supposed to do? Well, it's finally here. I asked Beach the most important question of the day. He gives us the most important answer. What are you wearing, Beach?
I am wearing, and if you've ever watched Wilfrid is kind of like a bluish gray color. I've meant to find out exactly. I forget what kind of dog he's supposed to be. I suppose some type of Australian dog. Originally, it's kind of a bluish gray color, so I was trying to kind of match Wilfrid in his color anyway. But on top here, I've got my Hemptations classic head case Hemptations 420 hat for 420. Um, my I'm wearing because it dropped back down. We had snow. Are you trying to hypnotize everybody? We had snow last night here
Yeah.
in Cincinnati. It came in. I don't know if it was 420 or on having Hemptations Day, but I got my rocket jacket because it's cold out, along with my um, Young Maven long sleeve kind of underwear top underneath my Patagonia short sleeve button down. And they've got Satori briefs with my Orvis pants. And if you look closely, I do have a Hempy's belt on there. And of course, my Green Spring Technologies pen is tucked there in my pocket. And we have kind hemp socks followed up by a pair of wicked boots for the 1 inch of snow, even though I didn't have to go outside, which is nice. When I get home, I'll go traipse around in the snow if there's any left in my wicked boots. So there you have it. If you've been waiting, patiently waiting to find out what I was wearing, now you know. All right, we got a lot of cool, again, just seeing so many cool products getting released to the public. After we were, talking with Jason about that, about, what do we do? There's all these companies are coming out with such cool things made with hemp. This first pick of these glasses, now I've been showing the hemp sunglasses, and the big pair, the hemp eyewear, which I will have more from them coming up. They use more of it's not really like a plastic, it's kind of a woody kind of frame. This company is out of Argentina, and they are using it's kind of a composite, more of a composite, which I think in the long run may be easier to find lenses for if you want to go prescription. I don't know for sure, as long as they're using kind of a standard frame. We'll see, but hemp frames. I can't wait to have a pair of hemp glasses. I own 4 pairs of hemp sunglasses, but I don't have a pair of hemp prescription glasses, and I know I can do that with the hemp eyewear, and I need to do it. But I look forward to it. So more glasses is great. They were developed by someone named Mariamo Percival, and he came up with the idea actually after watching a friend of his harvest hemp, and his friend broke open a stalk and made a bracelet just out of the twine. And then all of a sudden that sent this guy on a investigation as to what hemp really was. And because he had no idea, he found out that it was an infinite world. And that's what sent him on the idea to make hemp composite eyeglass frames. And so again, it's amazing. A little knowledge. And I've always said that I think once you educate people on all things that hemp can do, they're like,
Wow. Yeah.
Just look what a little bracelet made out of some hemp twine taken straight from the field did for this guy. So great. That's pretty awesome. The next one for all our musicians out there, not all us. I said us like I'm a musician. I'm not a musician. I wish I was a musician, but I am not. But this is what we're believing. It's probably the first wood composite we've seen, and I don't know. That's not true. Maybe acoustic, because there is an electric guitar that you can get. These are new. These are made by Joy Guitars. Says that they made from hemp because the brains behind the guitar, Greg Wilson, says they wanted a product that would benefit humanity by providing a viable wood alternative that helps the environment by removing the devastating effects of deforestation. And so, once again, what a great idea. It looks beautiful. How they sound is probably particular to the hemp wood and the design, obviously. And so I really think that's another, we're slowly seeing, more and more musical things, so to speak, guitars, electric guitars. I myself have a piccolo ukulele that's made out of composite. And so another really cool everyday kind of, people don't need guitars, but they want guitars. And so how nice is it to be able to say that your guitar is environmentally friendly at the very least, instead of, using woods that were probably trees once.
Absolutely.
And so, I love music, so more of that. This next pick, and I know I mentioned this when the seeds took off to space. I mentioned that they were headed up to the International Space Station, and so they have returned. And so now you'd think, well, those don't look like plants in any way. So I guess what they really do, and I'm not sure, again, I don't know the science, and they have to study because what really returned was the cultures, plant cell cultures. So I guess they ship plant cells, hemp cannabis, plant cells to space, and then they were up in space for it was a pretty decent amount of time, at least a month or two. I'm guessing, if not 6 months. Again, I'm gonna have to look back and actually see when they were sent up there. Um, but apparently, what they do is they'll be able to better understand and subsequently breed various crops so that they can survive in new environments and conditions. So they're taking these, some would say this may be some genetic uh, engineering or modification, um, which I'm sure that's again because we're talking on a cell level. And so, I'm not sure if that's good or bad. But again, I don't know that you can go bad by growing a better hemp plant. I don't really want GMO because the plant itself it's sure good enough. And that being said, it tends to grow just about anywhere. Now, it may grow better here for this, and it may grow better there for that, but it will grow just about anywhere other than drought resistant places. It needs that water in the spring, but once it gets the water in the spring, it doesn't need much water through the summer. So it's just really the important part of that. And so, but the seeds are back from the internet. The seeds are back from space. Well, I should say the cells, the cultures are back from space. So we'll see what kind of research comes out of that one way or another. All right. So I mentioned the hemp eyewear company. Well, guess what they're going to do? They're going to make a watch. Now, the greatest thing about the watch that they're going to make is that one of them is going to be the 420, and it only has your 15-minute numbers and a 420 mark. And so I love it. It's brilliant. Honestly, you can do the not quite white. You can do the charcoal. But I'm definitely, and again, I think it's a Kickstarter right now. I'm sure they'll get the money. I hope they get the money. I hate donating to Kickstarters. I'm like, just make it or don't make it. But anyway, that 420 watch made out of hemp may have been, maybe one of the funnest hemp products that I have seen so far. So right on, Hemp Eyewear. You can check them out online for sure. This next one, again, what a great idea. Hemp fur. Now, hoodlamb. This won't be the first hemp fur out there because hemp hoodlamb kind of put they had some hemp fur linings and hemp fur for a while, but this is really um, hemp fur. And I love this jacket only because, of course, I'm a Bengals fan, and so it's orange. And that hat is super cool. This is in the Ukraine, where again they grow a lot of hemp. Originally for I think the grain, and the fiber. To be honest with you, maybe originally for the fiber and now the grain, for that matter. The dressmaker Helena Zeldich, I hope I'm saying that right, says it's easier to work with than synthetic fibers even. And so if you're trying to replace some type of fur, which animal fur is just ridiculous, I will say that, a ridiculous idea. Synthetic. People will wonder, well, what's so bad about synthetic? Well, for one, the waste is also synthetic, and so when you make a synthetic product out of usually a petroleum-based something, we've pulled that oil out of the ground, and that's not going to last forever. But you also have the waste from making a synthetic product. And where's that going? Where's that? Most synthetic fibers last forever. 500. I mean, it'll take forever to break down. Plastic is probably even longer, obviously, than that. And so, where does that waste go? How does that get removed safely for the planet? Well, it doesn't. And so, that's the biggest deal there. It's not about the drilling for oil. It's really about the waste. If the waste wasn't so bad, and friendlier to the earth, then synthetic products wouldn't be so bad, in my hemp opinion, as it is. It was also funny that the first time she opened the roll, I was full of emotions. It has a very pleasant scent, and so I love that. Um, Hemp fiber has a very pleasant scent. And that's again because you don't have to process it. It doesn't have to go through all this processing. And so I'm sure it's kind of like a natural cannabis smell. Speaking of fiber, looks like American Eagle is going to get into the game with what they're calling mom jeans made out of hemp. Um, I don't know any. I mean, for one, this mom is very young, so maybe young mom jeans, and and maybe the I mean, I know the distressed look is in, but come on, both knees cut out. What are you selling, mom? What are they convinced me of here? And so, I don't think these are mom jeans at all. I think these are jeans for young people. Probably don't have kids yet. Because a mom would look at that as like, well, my kid's gonna, if especially a young kid's gonna grab the bottom of that open hole on my knee and rip my pants all the way to the bottom. Anyway, but it's made out of hemp, so they should be a little bit stronger, a little bit more durable, no doubt about it. But again, here's another big name, American Eagle Outfitters, getting into the hemp fiber jean movement, and so man, I just can't wait till every pair of jeans out there is made out of hemp. Man, will that be a great day? Great day. This is rain-fed hemp as well. We're seeing a lot of that. It's interesting that the companies, and I love this. It's like they're going 100% the opposite direction. They know how destructive cotton is on the planet, the water supply, everything. And so now, luckily, they're going full blown on the opposite side. And hemp is once again the rain-fed hemp. And of course they're going to sit in their board meetings and go, well, now that we're doing the rain-fed hemp, we can make more crappy cotton stuff because we can feel better about our conscience. No, make it all out of rain-fed hemp and just get rid of the cotton. Period. And so this is, it's a good. We're in that time period that I've been waiting for since we opened Temptations. And that was the time period when these big companies saw the viability of making their products out of hemp and putting the stuff on the shelf. And it's happening. And so little by little, we're getting there. We're getting there. We're going in the right direction. It's really like week by week, I feel that we're going in the right direction because the last 3 months has just been crazy as to all the new hemp stuff we're seeing. So, all right, that's all the products. Anyway, this last little bit of news is pretty cool. Montana has passed a bill advancing hemp and animal feed. It clarifies that hemp seed ingredients and substances derived from hemp are included in the definition of commercial feed, which provides authority for hemp to use in commercial feed for pets, specialty pets, and horses. Now, they are waiting for approval to use it in animal food or as medication food for livestock. And so I kind of understand that. But this is more obviously animals that don't get eaten.
Yeah.
It's okay for them to have the hemp now, which I think is interesting. Your pets, your specialty pets, and horses. It's funny that they say specialty pets because I would assume that birds are specialty pets, and hemp seed is in your exotic bird food already, or you're not buying the right exotic bird food because they know that. And so this is definitely once again step in the right direction. I think we're probably going to have to see more states do the livestock thing. Colorado is studying hemp feed for livestock. Before and hopefully within the next couple of years we can get it approved by the federal government, and because again, chickens eating hemp so much better, cattle eating hemp so much better. I think most of the animals that humans eat, and again, it's funny that we mentioned this the last thing on the show when we talked so much about veganism. Well, if we're going to have meat for people to eat, then we should give them the best, cleanest option for them and the planet. And so, hopefully we can get that stuff moved outdoors or free range, as they say, um, and more like that. And also feeding them things that aren't antibiotics or steroids or all this stuff that makes them big and plump so they can sell more of it to you cheaper. That's not healthy. That's not healthy. I get it. Just like we were talking about with Jason earlier. You know, we're beholden to the markets that are selling us all this cheap food because people don't have a whole lot of money, which is to me the most ridiculous thing as it is. We want to talk about subsidies, and he did mention subsidies. I think the only subsidies that the government should give any farmer is if they're growing an organic food product so that they can keep those prices down so they can fill the shelves with that stuff as opposed to giving subsidies to corn growers that don't even grow corn or whatever, which is just ridiculous. Um, and so, you know, the only government subsidies for farmers should be organic farmers so that their prices can stay competitive with non-organic farming. Um, and then I think that people would choose. Why wouldn't you? If you had the exact same product, and one said organic and one didn't, same price, why would you not choose the organic one?
Yeah.
It's silly. And so, you know, that's the only way that all food product is going to be organic, especially meats, in my opinion, is if they approve hemp seed as you know as livestock food. That's one way to speed that up, um, because it would be healthier for them and it would provide them with the nutritional value to provide a you know a better meat, so to speak, if that's what you're looking for, as opposed to once again using antibiotics to keep the cows healthy or steroids to boost their meat or whatever. So, all right, good for Montana. I look forward to seeing Colorado's test results because they're officially studying hemp seed for livestock in Colorado. I'm pretty sure of that. All right, well, I'll get on to some events here, and we can call this one of the longest shows ever. One of the longest shows ever. Um, uh, this, the 24th, super busy day in the hemp world, locally, or semi locally, I should say, because you have Lima, Ohio, has the Hemp and Cannabis Seminar at the Elks Lodge. The Kentucky CBD Hemp Show is at the Capitol Plaza in Frankfort. Hempdemic, which I love this name, the Spring Hemp Festival in at the Hapville Makerspace in Atlanta, Georgia. Not real close. But then we have the last one, which again I think is just talking about this livestock feed thing, is the Beefomania with the Hemp Cattle Company. Beefomania with the Hemp Cattle Company at Third Turn Brewing in Louisville, KY. It almost really makes me want to go there because my understanding is they are feeding hemp to their cattle, and they're going to have that meat there. And so again, that's this Saturday in Louisville, the Beefomania with the Hemp Cattle Company at Third Turn Brewing in Louisville. I'm you know, just saying it. The more I say it, the more I'm like, yeah, I know we're just talking about veganism and all that good stuff, but I really do want to try some hemp-fed beef because I don't think I've had that. So then, you know, May 19th, 20th, what do we got? The Ohio Kentucky Cannabis and Hemp Expo, the Duke Energy Center right here in Cincinnati, Ohio. And that pretty much gets us through until June for what I have. If you do have any events, you know, usually I end the show with questions. If you have any questions, make sure and send them to me at Hemptations at Yahoo. You can also do that through the Hemptations Beach Facebook page, of course. And also our website has a page on it that you can contact to me through at hemptations.com. Again, special thanks goes out to Jason Gann, Wilfrid, for being on the show today. Check out his products, support him in any way you can. Again, he's all over. There's the website for the products. Like you see, he's got the Instagram, his pretty much his main thing. He does have a Facebook page. So follow him. And if you haven't watched Wilfrid, I really honestly, especially if you're a dog owner, or a cannabis user for that matter, because it's funny, and it is. I mean, he does a brilliant job of playing a dog. It really does. So check that out. Um, I'm going to leave you with my beach thoughts, which is thank you for supporting Hemptations. It is having Hemptations Day, first annual Hemptations, having Hemptations Day. I'm calling it. There it is, Hempy Hemptations Day, which is hard to say. I officially want to call it having Hemptations Day. So we'll do that next year for sure, and that will always be the day. Well, will always be the 21st forever and ever.
Yep.
April 21st is having Hemptations Day. Thanks everybody for watching, whether you're watching live or you watch live or you're watching later. Thank you so much for supporting us, and remember, reduce, reuse, recycle, make everything else out of hemp. Having Hemptations.
See y'all next week.